Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. This is our part 2 of our Mandalorian Season 3 Episode 1 review, where we're going to talk spoilers, so just be warned. Akram, like another great episode. Let's get your in-depth thoughts for Episode 1.
Yeah, so initially the first review I gave it a 7 or 6 out of 10. It was because I thought that it was really short. It provided an intro to what's to come, and I think that was fine. I just wish we saw a little bit more just for a first episode. It was very short, but then again, short sometimes doesn't necessarily equal bad. It could be action packed, and it was fun to see, right? So it was a joy. But nonetheless, yeah, this episode was really fun to see Mando visit different locales like back to back. And we get to see Bo-Katan too, which is awesome. I was wondering what happened with her, but let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see your point of view. I mean, it was short. Personally, I think they packed a lot into this one episode. I mean, just right off the bat, we see, the covert, I think it's called. I actually like that scene. It kind of threw me off because they did this cool fake out where we actually thought that young kid was Din Djarin, but it actually turned out it was just like a random foundling. I did like that they actually had the little Hasbro helmets. If anyone noticed, those are the actual toy helmets that they produce for kids. So that was cool. I mean, that was subliminal marketing, but it was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, and even just that big battle that they had with that giant alligator, I thought was cool. They had some really cool shots. That one Mando that was from that point of view, his helmet, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, you have to give it to them. They do justice with action, at least in Star Wars, and it's not so much Jedi-esque action. It's really decent. And I love seeing just that troop of Mandos just fighting that one thing, and they're working in tandem. It was really great. And a cool thing was the culture as well, and the religion, and seeing kind of this baptism they were going to do.
Yeah, it was very ritualistic. It was this kind of like you said, a baptism or this rite of passage for these young Mandos. And I like the detail that they put into the armor. I mean, we've seen them in season 1, but we didn't see them in depth, right? Now we get a little bit more in detail. We get to see what their armors and some of the choices in color. I think a lot of it is based from the concept art. We both had the concept art book, so it's really cool seeing that on screen. But yeah, so like we said before, Din has to go on this journey to redeem himself by bathing in the waters of Mandalore. Personally, I always thought that was kind of stupid that he had to go through all that. I mean, he already won the Darksaber, so it's I think that's pretty much all you need, honestly, because you're basically you earn the right to be a Mandalorian at that point if you're not the leader of Mandalore, right?
Well, I think that makes him even more of a better leader. It's because he's very thorough and he respects the cult, as Bo-Katan says, and he also respects the fact that now he has a Darksaber and he has to think of the bigger picture. So it's just one guy on his own. He has a lot on his plate. And I think usually great leaders are like that. They have a lot on their plate. They want to respect and also move forward. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how Mandalore is. I know that there's a big tease for it later on. I don't know how he got that little inscription thing. They didn't really explain it.
I forgot where they showed that. Was that
where exactly
from Boba Fett? I lost track. Maybe it was just off screen or something. Yeah, that was kind of weird. I did like that they threw in little details like the space whales.
Oh man, yes, I love that so much. I was like, oh man, that's so beautiful.
I kept thinking like when you said they pay so much attention to detail, it's just they respect the mythology so much, and then just those minute details that really crafts the lore so much. Like who would expect they didn't have to do that? But just seeing that, and that actually makes me wonder if that'll be kind of like a thread line for Ezra, for Ahsoka. Who knows?
Maybe. You know what's cool is that Grogu isn't just a character that's cute like a pet. I like that. I like that you get to kind of sometimes live in two perspectives, through Mando's perspective, and this is the world, and he's talking to people, and you see lore, right? But also through Grogu's, he's in touch with the Force, and I think just because he's a Force user, you know, it kind of seemed later on, the opacity kind of became stronger and stronger, and then you get to see the space whales, and then he's like noticing it, right? And also shows his character, he could notice the different things in life, the nature. And so I think that little moment was beautiful. Again, they pay so much attention to detail. It's almost fan service, but they do something with it. They make it more deeper. And that's why I admire Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau.
Yeah, they really respect the lore so much, and it really feels like they're fans too. Like I remember, it made me like watching this episode. It made me miss doing our old Instagram lives where we would discuss season 2, just because they put so much into it, and it's just like such a love letter to Star Wars fans. And I think really the Mandalorian is what a lot of Star Wars fans are really clinging to nowadays, right? It doesn't matter like which movie or series you're watching or which one you love or hate. I think Mandalorian, we can all agree, is such a great love letter to Star Wars fans.
It really is. And I just noticed something too. I think there's a lot of subtext about your tribe, which is really important, your beliefs and stuff. And I just love how Boba Fett, he was burnt to hell through the acid. And then later on in the Bapta tank, he was trying to, it was healing him, right? It's almost like this form of reformation. And now he's fully healed. He's himself again. And it's like, well, now Mando has to go somewhere just to bathe in the waters of Mandalore. It's like just to wash away the sins or something. I don't know. Maybe it's a stretch, but I don't know. I kind of find it really cool.
I think that's an interesting point. I mean, Star Wars has always been kind of like finding your family, right? Yeah. Whether it's, familial or it's like adopted. Like, because Mando, like, he thought he was part of this bigger cult and he thought that's where he belonged. But then he found Grogu, and then that was kind of like their whole chemistry. And it's such a nice balance because, like you said, like Grogu's like that spiritual connection. And I didn't even realize, like we just saw it today on Instagram. Apparently, like Grogu spent like 2 years with Luke Skywalker.
That threw me off. I was like, what? I was like, holy I had shit. A nosebleed. Right. Yeah, I was like,
well, that made it more sad because I remember I almost cried when in Book of Boba Fett when they reconnected. I was like, damn, 2 years. That's a long time to be distant. But yeah, it makes me wonder like how much like Grogu learned on the way, like the path of the Jedi. I wonder like what the relationship with the Jedi is going to be this season.
I hope that we get, actually, I really do. This is the one instance where I feel like I really want to see more flashbacks. Sometimes flashbacks can be a lazy way of exposition and stuff, but I really do want to see it. I think it'll only really work here in a not lazy way because Star Wars is so big and everybody knows it and everybody has watched the movies and stuff. So I actually really want to see more flashbacks to the Jedi Temple. I want to see who saved Grogu. And I don't know what the relationship will be. I hope that they get into it though, because he has a Darksaber. So I hope we get to see the first wielder or the creator of it.
Yeah, they showed in the trailers there was this helmet that he was like holding. It was like this really dusty helmet. I had some theories. Like some people were saying it was Pre Vizsla's, some people saying it was Tar Vizsla's. Maybe it's just like one of the ancient Mandalorians. I don't know. It could be anybody, to be honest. What do you think?
I don't know. Or you could just be a random dude that got bombed.
It could be that. Yeah, it's like maybe we're overthinking it. But sometimes with Mandalorian, sometimes your intrusive thoughts actually like turn. Like remember how we were with Luke Skywalker? Like we didn't know it was going to be him, but it did turn out to be him. Yeah. So sometimes like this show makes you like second guess yourself. I wonder. I was talking to you before Taz said I wonder if they'll probably reintroduce the Basilisk droids from Legends. Because once they introduced the Scorponok droids in Boba Fett, I was like, oh shit, well they can do pretty much anything they want now.
Yeah, they respect Legends a lot. They take a lot from concept, Legends, and like you said, even the products that Hasbro makes, they even take that into account. So it's like they use everything, right? And so for sure, I mean, it'll be cool to introduce new characters also from Legends. Maybe we could see some of that in some shape, way, or form, or we could see returning characters from the original trilogy. I wonder if we're going to see anybody else make a return. I don't know if we'll see Ahsoka because I think she's on her own thing now. The show's coming out. Ahsoka's coming out pretty soon. Yeah.
Yeah, you had an interesting theory too about the armor. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I was thinking maybe this season we'll actually see the armor for some reason. The armorer take off her helmet and she ends up being a Zabrak. I think that's the species that Darth Maul is. And I was thinking, well, it would be really interesting if to fit the helmet on her head, she actually filed down the horns. And it was like symbolic of like she's going to forego her race in order to, pay close attention to her religion. So it's like really deep or something. Yeah. I don't know if they'll actually do it. I hope they do though.
That's
cool.
Interesting. No, that's a cool theory too, because I always think of like the Mandalorians, like they kind of like denounce like some of their previous, kind of like the Jedi, like they kind of separate themselves from their old life to bring themselves into this new life of like, the creed. Yeah, that whole beginning scene, I think that was so lore intensive. Like we've never seen anything like that. It felt actually like a lot like of what we've seen with the Jedi, like how they kind of indoctrinate like Padawans into their society. So I thought that was really cool. But yeah, so Mando returns to Navarro, and we see that things have kind of changed, and Grief Karga returns, and he's kind of like the High Magistrate.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of seeing Carl Weathers back?
Oh, he's always a great pleasure to see on screen. And I love how everything has changed for the better. They don't want anything to do with the Republic or the New Republic. And of course the Empire too. So they're their own thing. They're like the main trading source in that section. So it looks like they're flourishing, and that's great to see. So it looks like there's not too much violence, but then you always get a little bit of that. And so we also get to see pirates making some trouble for people. I wonder how much of a role they'll play. I hope they're not like one of those things where it's like annoying. They just reoccur. It's like when something is getting nitty gritty into the mythos, and then like all this shit happens. It's like, boom. Oh, we got to go. I hope it doesn't end up like that. I got a feeling though, because they did introduce a captain that we'll talk about a little bit later.
I mean, the makeup wasn't that great in my opinion.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, right.
Like that main guy that was like talking to Grief, like his mouth wasn't.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's because like sometimes they have trouble translating like animated to live action. I mean, I didn't think Cad Bane was bad, but I think here was kind of weird sometimes. I mean, you take it with a grain of salt because they're aliens. You even if no matter how real they look on screen, you kind of like know it's fake.
Right.
But yeah, it was kind of weird, and even that pirate captain, that seaweed monster, whatever that guy was.
Yeah, so that's the guy, Swamp Thing. Yeah, that's the captain. I think we're gonna see him a lot more.
Yeah, I was actually thinking, would it be crazy if like they were actually like hired by like Boba Fett or something? Because what if Boba Fett's actually turning like more of a crime lord now?
That would be kind of sad to see, to be honest. I don't know because they left it on a good note. I don't know, because it's like he's gonna be really different. It'll be really sad to see that.
Well, that's also what the fans wanted too. They wanted Boba Fett to be more kind of like ruthless.
I guess anti-hero-ish. I don't know. I remember when we were doing those reviews, I always admired that he's gonna turn into something else. So it's kind of like Luke Cage in the Defenders franchise. So it's like I hope that's not the case, to be honest with you. I did wish he was a little bit more badass in certain aspects. He was accepting people like Bakudo and stuff like that. No, he was just very like, he was more of a businessman, but it's like we have to honor certain things, and we can't be so sleazy. I think the captain is a complete opposite from that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was gonna mention too. I remember at the end of Book of Boba Fett, Cobb Vanth was apparently alive. Do you think we'll see him back in Mandalorian?
I hope so, because I like that character too. I really do hope so. I hope that usually it's just Grogu and Mando and they travel alone together. But now they want to, apparently from the trailers we see, they want to have this droid that was the first choice for Luke and Ben to grab that droid, but instead they got R2-D2. I hope so. I would love to see like a little reunion between these characters, because they're familiars, and I think they should be. So I would hope so. I mean, you said that Boba Fett maybe will make an appearance too in this season as well.
Something like apparently like he's rumored to make a comeback. I wouldn't be surprised, because now they've kind of intertwined with each other's series. I mean, it would feel kind of weird because it's like now you expect it. But I think John and Dave do a good job of making it make sense sometimes. Speaking of that, I wanted to get your thoughts on that whole mention of like Cara Dune.
Yeah, I actually really like how they handle it. They didn't really linger on it. It was just like, yeah, she's doing something. Yeah. And it also kind of tied into like the spinoff that they wanted to do. So I mean, it kind of seems like they didn't completely kill her off. So I mean, if she wants to, she could come back. I know that she's doing some movie. She did a movie for Daily Wire, but Daily Wire doesn't have the reach as Disney does, so they're really limited. So if she wants to go back, and I actually think, because again, for me, Disney is like more or less pretty woke now, but they did get a new creative. They got the old like CEO back now, and I'm wondering, in good faith, he brings her back, and it just shows like, okay, they're willing to move on. But again, they're a private business. It's if they want to kick her out because what she said, then that's up to them. I mean, that's their right. But at least they didn't handle it bad. I think they handled it pretty tastefully. It was like not bad. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it made sense. Yeah, within the lore. I mean, they did kind of set her up in season 2, where she was kind of talking with that New Republic guy, and they were kind of like trying to recruit her. And so, as far as narrative go, it didn't feel too off.
Yeah.
But also, we saw IG-11 make a comeback in this episode.
Oh man,
I missed him so much. It was kind of sad though, because in this episode he kind of defaulted back to his directive.
What a prick! Yeah, what an asshole! I was like, I missed you.
Yeah, it was sad. I mean, I liked when he was kind of like the nurse droid to Grogu, and then he kind of like turned into Arnold Schwarzenegger. But
yeah, exactly. He was a Terminator here.
Yeah. Do you think we'll get him back, or do you think he's kind of like done?
I think we might get him back, but it's gonna be like an OP moment, like surprise, and he's like helping Mando last minute. He's like boom, 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 boom. It's gonna be something really exciting. Because the little what are they called? The little
Anzellans.
Yeah, they're so cute too.
I love when Grogu hugged them. He was like,
Hot Toys. If you're watching this, which you're probably not, but we hope so. One day you will.
Sponsor
make
us.
Them. Yes, make those. I want
this
one.
Video sponsored by Hasbro. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that would be cool. Listen, we'll be monetized like so much, but yeah. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I thought that was a great showcase of Mando's growth over these series, because in the beginning he hated droids, right? Because he had a traumatic experience as a child, but now he's like IG-11. He was like a freaking bounty hunter droid that tried to kill him in season 1. Now that's his best buddy, right? He's like, I want that droid specifically, right?
That's deep. That shows something, because IG changed, and look at Mando, he changed. That's pretty deep.
And I feel like Mando was kind of hurt that he had to destroy him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it actually made me sad too, because I remember Queel was the one that actually changed him in season 1. The Jeer Turker.
Yeah,
Cue The Last of Us. Yeah. I hope we get some cool new characters like Queel in this season. I think this show. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say I got a feeling we might see Fennec if you said Boba. Maybe Fennec will come back. She's always like traveling here and here. But yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I think the Mandalorian does a good job of setting up supporting characters and making them feel like they're actually relevant and not like people in the background. Like even that one lady that Mando met on that like farm planet. It was kind of like a what if like I just settled down. She served like a narrator role, I guess. Remember, like
I forgot about that. Yeah.
She like had a crush on him or something.
Oh yeah. Oh, I wonder if they'll ever go like revisit that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, there could be like either the whole thing ends where he's like ruling everybody, he sacrificed himself, or he settles down or something like that. It could end, and at least that's a spot to go back to.
Right.
I don't know, but then he goes back and like she ends up being pregnant, and he's like,
he denounced like the Mandalorian, then he came back and he's like,
Dum dum. Directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah, I mean, what else thoughts do you have on the episode? Because they were trying to rebuild IG, and then after that, Mando sets off to see Bo-Katan. That was actually he has a fight with the captain, which was an awesome sequence.
Yeah, that whole dogfight sequence was really cool. And we get to see like really like what his starfighter did he ever name that starfighter, by the way?
I don't think so. No, I think it wasn't. Isn't that called an N1 something?
The Naboo star. Yeah.
Yeah, he should. Dude, I miss the Razor Crest so bad. But this is starting to grow on me because it's super fast, at least. It's really unique. And he's really like swift with just going around the asteroids and stuff. It was really cool. It was an awesome sequence.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of like confused because I thought like, because it's more of a fighter and not like a cargo ship. Because he was a bounty hunter for a while, but I guess now he's kind of cutting ties with that and becoming, you know, full time Mandalorian, I guess.
Well, you know what? It also shows that there's 2 spots. There's only 2 occupants that could be on that, and it's like now it shows the journey that he wants to now take. You know, now he's different, and so it's just about him and Grogu. So that's why now it kind of makes sense that you don't see these companions always riding with him everywhere, because. Originally, I was like, man, wouldn't that be so cool if it was the Razor Crest and you had Cara Dune, you had this guy, and they were all just hanging out there and they went on an adventure. But now it's like, okay, I get it. It's just Mando and Grogu, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been about them. They're, you know, they're the family, right? And everybody else, I mean, everybody is still relevant, but they're kind of just there for like an episode and then they make a returning, you know?
Are you like... Now I understand it. Like, we were basically explaining the Fast and Furious series, like with the people coming in and the Razor Crest. There you go. Now it makes sense.
You see Han there, like eating chips on a starfighter.
Right. Like, how are you gonna get around this corner? And he looks at him. He's like winks and he drifts or something.
Well, I mean, in the trailer we did see like some returning characters coming. I think like Pelimato, because like you said, probably like that droid, you know, will make a comeback. Boba Fett, Bo-Katan. I don't know like how big a role Bo-Katan's gonna have in this. It seems like they're setting her up to be like the main antagonist.
You're right. I was just going to say that.
Wow, did you hear that, guys?
Akram said I'm right.
Yeah, now I
it's like
know
the best Well, no, it makes sense that if she's actually the antagonist, that's pretty sad too, because we grew up with her. So it's like, damn, Bo-Katan's salty as hell, and now she's gonna go after Pedro or Mando. Right. So that's a good point, though. That really is.
Well, it's either that or Moff Gideon, but they kind of just threw him into the dustbin. Although we did see like in the trailer there was the doctor that was working for him, and that was on Coruscant too. So I hope we see Coruscant pretty soon.
Oh shit! Yeah, I hope that we have like good sequences there. I wonder how that looks. Well, because the New Republic's right is the New Republic.
Right.
Yeah. So
oh no, the New Republic. I think they changed it. It's not on Coruscant now. Remember in the movies they said, or at least in the lore, I think. No. In the sequels, they said it was. I think it was like Hosnian Prime or something was the new capital of the New Republic. Oh. I mean, Coruscant is still around at this time, but I don't think it's the capital now. I think because it has too much association with the Empire.
It's just a city planet.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's. I mean, I would love to see more cool Coruscant. Though. At least we got that in Andor. We got a lot of that in Andor.
Right. I mean,
yeah. How do you think this compares to Andor? Like,
well, Andor's more political, I think. Mandalorian is kind of more. It's lore intensive. It feels like a video game almost. But I mean, they're both similar. I mean, it's interesting to see that they're both two people that aren't reliant on like Force or like the Jedi stuff, but they go about things in different ways. But I think Mando, kind of, he still kind of has like that like Jedi mythology, right? Because like the Mandalorians, you know, they fought the Jedi and they kind of had their own lore surrounding them, and it's cool to see like. I think this show does a good showcase of fleshing out Mandalorian culture, because that's only something we get in like comics and EU, and we all know comicsology is ass now. So.
Oh my god, don't get me started.
But it's also cool just seeing like, you know, John and Dave's like how they fill in those gaps, right? Because George Lucas never really like you know fleshed the Mandalorians out, right? It was basically they were just based on Boba Fett, right?
Yeah, again, he focused more on the Skywalker saga aspect more so than the actual side characters. I feel like at least Dave Filoni and George Lucas, John Favreau, it's like they give respect to the side characters, like you were saying, and it's like, I think that's how I'm glad that they're the leads here. I am really glad. Like I never have like a moment of doubt whenever they're involved with something. But yeah, and then they end up, like we said, meeting Bo-Katan and.
That's pretty empty castle. I thought she was in an Airbnb or some shit.
I was like, damn, that's a drafty ass,
that big ass hallway.
Yeah, what she's doing there, how she's eating.
Right.
But I mean, Yeah, and then he says, "I'm gonna go take a bath, and I'm gonna."
That's basically what he said.
And it's just like, it's cursed. You can't. Like, but yeah, and then so then the episode ends from there. And I mean, so again, it's short but sweet, action packed. It has everything you want, and it leads up directly to the rest of the season in a great way. I mean, we could kind of tell the general path that they're gonna go towards. So yeah, I mean. Yeah.
I mean, even a filler episode for Mandalorian feels so much like a movie, or like,
it's good.
There's so much they throw into it. I mean, it's something that, like I said, all Star Wars fans can appreciate, because it cherry picks from like the best things about, the movies, the TV shows, the video games, sometimes even, or Legends. So I mean, I like I said in the beginning of our other review, like they put pretty much everything in the trailers in this one episode. So I'm actually glad to be surprised for what's going to happen next. Because they made it seem like there's this through line. There's going to be like this big Mando civil war or some shit. Or well, he's going to return to Mandalore eventually. Yeah. Whatever.
I wonder if they could. I don't think rebuild it, but I don't know. I think at the end of the day, I think the bigger picture is there's something with Grogu. He's like, he's tagging along always, but there's just something that can be the new journey. Like it actually is. He's the main star somehow. It's like, I wonder, and it matches with Mando because of Darksaber and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how many seasons we'll get after this. I mean, it's too early to say, but I wonder how much they want to do with that. I know Pedro's getting paid a lot for The Last of Us and this show, so I don't think he'll. Yeah, I don't think he would want to stop doing this. So
I think he's passionate.
But yeah, so we already said our rating in the last episode, so guys, check that out if you don't want any spoilers. And also remember to help support us, please. If you believe in the Force and you believe in us, this is the way. Please remember to like and share to your friends. It'll greatly help us out. We have a Rocky Revisited that's going to drop pretty soon, and then we're also going to do a Creed 3 review, so be on the lookout for that. And we also want to get some special guests this month. I think it's going to be really exciting and fun. This month has hella reviews, so be on the lookout for that as well. And Succession finally.
Yeah, we've been grinding like crazy, so guys, check out our other content. Please leave a like, leave a share. Anything helps the channel. Check us out on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, as well as YouTube. But yeah, anything helps the channel. And thank you guys for, as always, being supportive of the channel, wherever you come from. Yeah, and until then, guys, may the Force be with you, and this is the way.
And the Force be with you guys. See you.